Hi everybody, it's Catherine from In the Pink Designs. I hope everybody had a good weekend. My host code for this month is right here. If you're going to spend under $150, please put your host code in. My project for today is, I'm not sure what to call it yet, but it is a box of books. Alrighty, and it measures 4.5 by 3 3/8 by 7/8. All right, and I'm just going to open up the ribbon here. And inside, I put 3 notebooks. Now, I made these, I covered both the front and the back, and I picked some coordinating patterns from this DSP. I made the books from these mini composition books. I got these from Walmart. It's not just for back to school time, which they have out, and here we only got out like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. But they're very neat. They have 80 pages in them. They were 88 cents for the 3 of them, so that's pretty economical. And they're really nice for 88 cents each. These are a lot better quality than they have at the Dollar Tree, I find. There's more pages in them too. And I just covered those colors on there. And it's the same book. See that? Okay, and all 3 of them. Now, you don't have to put this ribbon on here if you don't want to, but they slip in there just very nicely, just like that. And you could pick a slimmer ribbon if you don't want that big of a bow on the side, but I liked it, so I used that. So I used this stamp set here, is Amazing Year. It is from the annual catalog, and of course it's this image right there. I also used the Fabulous Frames dies, which are new from the annual catalog, and Awash and Beauty Designer Series paper. Alrighty, so let me show you what we need. We need some basic white for stamping. We need a piece of Saffron that is 7 5/8 by 6 1/4. We need one of the frame dies cut out of Saffron, so we need both pieces of it. Okay. We need a bunch of DSP, and somebody said I should explain what DSP is. DSP is thinner than cardstock. It's designer series paper. DSP are the initials, and it coordinates with Stampin' Up products, the dies and stamp sets and stuff like that. So that's what that is. It's thinner than cardstock. It's basically thinner pattern paper, but it's not cardstock. Okay. All right. So we need 2 pieces that are 3 1/8 by 4 1/4. This is for the actual box part. 1 piece that is 5/8 by 4 1/4. Remember, these will be on my blog, which is linked below. And 2 pieces that are 3 1/8 by 5/8, and that's going to go on the top and the bottom. Okay, and then we need 6 more pieces to cover the books. So we need 6 that are 2 3/4 by 4 1/2, and I used 2 of those, and 2 of these, which you could use that side if you wanted to. But that's the ones I use. Now, this is pretty too, if you don't want to match the outside. This is the reverse side of the one that we're using for the outside of the box. Alrighty. Okay, and you can put other things in here if you want that are similar to this. So, let's get our cardstock and our Simply Scored, and we're going to start on the 7 5/8 side, and we're going to score at 3 3/8 and 4 1/4. Then we're going to turn it to the 6 1/4 side, and we're going to score at 7/8 and at 5 3/8. And that's it. Now I'm just going to fold and burnish. Okay, so we have 2 7/8 inch strips at the top, one at the top, one at the bottom. Right, and that's how we're going to have it placed when we're cutting. And all we're going to do is keep our rectangle straight and wedge the square in the middles. Okay. All right, so we're going to go to the first score line, cut it straight to the first score line, next score line, straight to the first score line, and then wedge each side of the square. Turn it 180 and do the same thing. Okay, and this is what your cardstock should look like after you've done scoring it and cutting it. And there will be a picture of this on my blog. All right, now I'm going to get some tear and tape, and I'm going to put a piece on each one of the tabs, one piece close to the score line and one piece close to the edge. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to get the backings off. I'm going to attach either side is fine. We're going to attach the top of the score line on the tab to the side of one of the rectangles. And just make sure you do it to the same rectangle on both sides. Alrighty, now we need a little liquid glue. And first get your note. I should have left them in the package, it's easier. I'm just going to put them in like that. You don't really have to because it fits pretty good, but just in case your paper is just a little bit off, I'm going to put liquid glue on both of the rectangles that are not attached to anything. All right, and then I'm going to lift it up, make sure these are coming close, and just attach them on both sides. And I'm going to take my books out because I don't want them to get stuck on any glue, just in case. Now we need our pieces of DSP Designer Series paper that are 3 1/8 by 5 1/4, and they're going to go on the front and on the back of the box. One piece that is 5/8 by 4 1/4 on the spine, and 2 pieces that are 3 1/8 by 5/8 on the top and bottom there. And I'm going to use liquid glue. Now wherever the seam is on those rectangles we brought together, that's the back. Alrighty, so this is the front of our box. Now I'm going to get a small hole punch. This is 1 1/8. I wish I had a 3/4 or a 1 inch, but I'm just going to try. I took it a little too much off on this one. I'm going to try to put it in the middle, back it off a bit. And I just want to make a little grip spot on the back and front. Okay. All right, and that's just so that you can pull your books out from the side a little bit easier than just shaking them out. All right, now let's do some stamping. We need our basic white and our image. And this image has the Enjoy Your Day on it already, so we don't have to worry about a sentiment. All right. Just gonna ink it up with Tuxedo Black Ink, if I didn't say that. And now I need enough room to cut the frame out around it, so you want to take that into account. And I just did a crooked. This actually goes this way. The tag is not straight. The bouquet is, but I think we're okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this frame and center the bouquet. Now, if this part goes off the edges, it's okay because we really just need the white part of this with the image on it. Okay, and I'm going to cut that and I'll be right back. Okay, there it is. All right, and this piece you could use with another project if you wanted. I don't need this piece for this project. All right, now we're going to do some coloring. Not too many colors. I have light and dark polished pink, light Blackberry Bliss, light Mossy Meadow, light So Saffron, and light Granny Apple Green. So we're going to start with the Blackberry Bliss, and I'm just going to go around the middle. I'll probably go on the middle too, and just poke out a little bit with the Blackberry Bliss on all the middles. Right, and this one I'm going to go around the edge here with Blackberry Bliss. All right, and then with dark Daffodil Delight, dark polished pink, sorry. I'm going to bring it out even a little bit more. Maybe go along all these edges that overlap. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to take the light polished pink and just kind of blend out the flowers. And that's the flowers. All right, now I'm going to use, I'm just going to do some with light Mossy Meadow of the leaves and some with light Granny Apple Green. I'm going to do the stems with Granny Apple Green though. And then I think, yeah, I just added in 1 or 2 little pieces of Mossy Meadow in the stems. All right. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to color the tag with light So Saffron. Okay, now what we need is the frame we cut out. Okay, now this piece we're going to glue directly onto the box. This piece we're going to use as a backing on this white piece because we're going to lift it up, and I just wanted it to have extra. I wanted it to have double cardstock on there because this ribbon's kind of large, and if you don't want to, you don't have to if you're going to use smaller ribbon. Alrighty, now remember which one's the front. Just check it out with the backs of the rectangles there. And I'm just going to attach this with liquid glue too. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we'll let that dry for now, and we're going to do our books. And we need all of this DSP. Okay, just notice what's the front and what's the back because of the heading there. I did some of mine upside down, but this is the front. And all I'm going to do is just overlap the black a little bit, and don't worry about the corners at the moment. Okay, so I'm just going to use a bunch of liquid glue to just put the front and back on. I just want to get it so that none of the color of the book shows if I can. Yeah, we're good. And then the back. Okay. Then I'm going to take a corner rounder. Mine is a 1-inch. And I'm just going to round the side corners. On the front and the back. I think a 1-inch is the closest to the edges on these that already exist. All right, and that's your book. All right, and I'm going to do the other two. All right, and there's my books. A little tip, this didn't happen to me the first time, but I ran into it this time, so they must be a tiny bit off sometimes. If a little bit, don't put your glue all the way up to the edge, and you don't need it on these corners, okay? And if a little bit hangs off one of the edges, just cut it. Just trim it with your scissors like this, with this side showing so you can see exactly where you need to. And then cut the corners, and it'll take care of any of that excess stuff you have. All right, now these I'm going to let dry a minute before we put them in our box, so I'm going to use these. All right, so I'm going to put these in our box nicely. So it gives us a little bit to work with. I should have done that before with this. All right, now we already glued our backing onto this piece, and we want our natural ribbon. It's 7/8 inch, and we're going to tie a bow. And I left it pretty long so that when they retie it, it won't be a hassle. And with the edges, I just ran a lighter past them quick just so they stay nice and fresh. They won't fray. I do love this ribbon. It ties a pretty bow. All right, I'm just going to neaten up the edges. It's a little long. Okay. And if you have a ribbon cutter, that's good too. It will probably do this already. But I just run a lighter against them really quick so they don't really get much. It just makes it, you can feel a nice little finished edge on there so it won't fray on the people that want to give this as a gift. All right, now if this is just going to sit in on your desk, you don't need probably the ribbon. You can just sit it like this and not have the ribbon on there. All right, now we need some dimensionals. And I'm going to put a bunch. So if you have the edges left over from some, you can use that. So I'm going to put 3 up here and then 1 in the middle. Well, not in the middle, but kind of like that. And then 3 over here. And then we're just going to center this right in the frame. There you go. Okay. Now I'm going to get some Wink of Stella and I'm going to put this on the flowers. And for the final touch, I'm going to use some of the 2021 to 2023 In Color Opal Rounds, and I'm going to use the polished pink ones. I'm going to put a big one right up here. Oops, stuck to the side. There we go. And another big one down there, and a small one up over there. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this box today. I really liked it. It was something a little bit different this time. If you have any questions, my email is below, my blog with all the measurements below, and my shop address for Stampin' Up. Alrighty. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.